I'm Chip Townsend, and this is the Team Chip Podcast. In this episode of the show,
and you have to create an experience that's second to none.
it's really hard to never say, oh, you're doing that wrong, because in the right time, in the right place, that may be very right.
Absolutely. They want them to smile, or they want them to work hard, they want them to do martial arts, but they want a happy kid. Don't lose your identity. In trying to be unique, don't lose your core and don't lose who you are.
All right, guys, we are back at the Team Chip Podcast. I'm going to say it. I say it all the time. They get tired of me saying the same things, but I'm excited today because we have Mr. Manny De Los Santos here with us in the house. How are you, Mr. Manny?
I'm doing fantastic.
Fantastic. It doesn't get any better than fantastic. Why did your day start so good today? Just tell me. I mean, there's a little, I'm digging deep for something here.
I get it. We got up this morning and did some rolls and jiu-jitsu this morning. Got a workout in. It was fantastic.
And you and I, we got the manly hug.
I think I got still a little red mark.
We practiced our, clothes folding with people inside the clothes.
That's
is that what
right.
they say? Right.
Involuntary yoga.
But it makes a good day, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I love it.
There's no better way than to get up, go get that extra, say your prayer, be thankful you woke up, and go exercise.
Go work, for sure.
That's right. I love it. It was amazing. Good start to the day. Okay, so today on the podcast, we're going to talk about, the idea of the podcast, again, just nuggets and ideas for entrepreneurs, small business, but really leaning into kind of martial arts schools, unique classes to set your school apart, like unique classes. I think this is an important concept. And, with Mr. Manny being our head instructor, chief instructor, is amazing at class planning and, disguising repetition, all those things that we do. So, Mr. Manny, let's dive in right away. Why do unique classes matter? Why is that?
I mean, you got to stand out.
Right.
You got to, bring people back, and you have to create an experience that's second to none. So, those are my three big topics there. You have to be innovative and have something new to offer to people. Especially martial arts, you can find it anywhere. Right. You have to stick out amongst that crowd. And to be honest, in our microwave society, doing the same thing over and over and over, while there is benefit to it, not a lot of people can stick to that. Right. So being able to switch it up and shuffle the card deck helps people stay in, and retention and stay in. And then again, when the kids are excited, I can't wait what I'm going to get today. You're creating that want to come back and that experience. And, I even got a comment yesterday from a parent who's been at our school for a long time since their student was a little dragon, small. Like, man, how do y'all still keep coming up with good ideas? And I was like, we got great instructors.
Not good, great ideas.
Right, great ideas.
Right. So you said there were three things. I'm going to put you on the spot.
Yes, sir.
When you say those three things that kind of drive you, what were those three things again? I think that's worth rehearing.
Absolutely. I want to stick out amongst the market.
Right.
I want to retain our students, want them to come back.
Retention, keep them there.
And create an experience second to none, a great culture.
An experience second to none, which is directly related to that culture. I love that. So classes that stand out and retention, that makes me think of the R's kind of the martial arts world. Recruitment, retention, and revenue. And revenue, we like to think of ourselves as martial artists first, teachers second, business people third. And, that revenue thing, we have to track and metric that as well.
For sure.
But recruitment and retention, having unique classes that stand out to keep people interested. So tell me more about unique class. I mean, what makes a class unique? What are we talking about? Classes. We're talking about martial arts classes. Somebody pays you to come in and spend an hour, 2 hours, it may be 45 minutes, half hour, exercising, learning techniques, self-defense, building themselves. So, I mean, what makes a class unique?
So for me, making a class unique means that we're not just going to stand in one spot the entire time. Right. I'm not just going to hear somebody barking orders at me. I'm going to move around in different ways. I might use different equipment. I might do the same movement, but in a different way, in a different spot with a different size partner, and just kind of shape it a little differently than just standing in and mirroring and just repeating the same things over and over.
Right. Does what part does energy in a class play? I'm pushing this button for a reason.
Yeah, absolutely. I think energy is the driving force behind that class. If you have a lethargic leader up at the front, you're gonna have a lethargic class. But if the leader is excited for you to be there and has energy and says, this is going to be an awesome technique. Here's a new way to do this technique. And they can present that in a good way. The students are engaged. They want to be there.
Right. Absolutely. We call it the 50% rule. So
Absolutely.
Can you define that 50% rule?
So most of the time, and I think this is the first place I heard this here at Team Chip, was your students are going to give you 50% of what you give them. So if you're at 100, they're only going to give you 50.
Right.
And then I know I kind of didn't take this rule, but I've heard it before, you know, being in the background of the military. One engine can give you 100% and another gives you 100%. The whole aircraft can go 120. So you can get some extra percentage if you have a good team behind you, other people helping and pulling. So if you're giving 100 and your team's giving 100 and the students are really trying to give 100, instead of 50, you can get 70, 80 out of them. So that's important.
Right. It is. And that's not a literal rule, but it's something that we came up with a long time ago. You know, I go and I'll teach clinics and seminars and I'll wear my Apple Watch and I'll in, you know, like a 4-hour window literally burn like 4,000 to 5,500 calories.
Oh, yeah.
And I have school owners and people ask me like, how in the heck do you keep that level up for that long? And then the answer is I'm super passionate about what I'm doing and what we're doing. But I think it's super important. I really take to heart that 50% rule.
Right.
If I'm up there leading, I need to be pouring out the energy and the fire and really trying to get the room excited.
We're the example. We're supposed to be what they're trying
to.
We're
the product,
yeah,
man.
We're the product. We're the example. So if we're leading a class of super energy, like, oh, that's what martial arts is supposed to do. They don't know any better. That's just their example.
Absolutely. So unique classes are absolutely key. And you said stand out. You know, one of the things we have to deal with is we are a business.
Right.
We got to stand out in a crowded market sometimes. You know, martial arts is becoming more than ever. And I'm so thankful for this, a forefront accepted activity. You know, something that people are familiar with. And that's a huge thing. So we have to do things in a way that our students want to keep coming back and doing it over and over and over again.
For sure.
What would you say to the guy that says, oh man, I don't want to do it that way because we've never done it like that? What would you say to that?
That's, you know, it's kind of outdated thinking. The person that's a stagnant pond right there. You get the scum that grows on the top of the stagnant pond, and the bad things grow in the pond. You know, flowing river stays refreshed, stays renewed. That's what carves out canyons, is that flowing water. You have to be able to change and progress. If you stick with the old things, sometimes you get left behind.
That's right. I like it. Stagnant.
Yeah.
Stagnant.
It's a little rough. That's a mean way to say it, but I mean, stagnant stuff dies.
Stagnant stuff dies. You've got to, I don't know that I like the word evolve much, but you got to evolve and you've got to change and you got to move forward and you got to make improvements, right?
Absolutely.
To keep things exciting and keep things moving forward. So, whenever we're talking about this, you know, when you're keeping things unique in your school, a lot of times based on the personality of the founder or the instructors, you know, that schools have unique strengths. And, you know, how can a martial arts school owner, you know, identify their unique strengths and then use those strengths to separate them and create that unique culture and that unique experience?
Absolutely. So, you know, two people come to mind specifically. I think of Steve Fisher out in Elk City. Super creative with coming up with drills and how to, and games, like gamifying teaching martial arts 100%. And then Zeke Merchant, you know, I call him, I'm starting to call him my co-chief. You know, he is really great at saying, okay, this move is just this body movement. What can I do with this piece of equipment to make that stick?
Right.
And so if I know I have two super creative instructors and I can't come up with a class plan, what would you, hey, how would you do this?
Right.
What have you done in the past? And having multiple pulls to do that. That's one thing that I like to use. If I have a really creative person that's good at setting up obstacles, say for little dragons that are martial arts focused, not just climbing on things, but that actually they have to kick, they have to maneuver. I say, you set up the dragon courses and have them do that and ask for their buy-in in the process. We have students that have good ideas, and every now and then you say, hey, how would you do this? And you can ask your students and leverage that they're really creative. I am creative to a point, but we all have a block in being able to ask different students. If I know a kid that's really great at sidekicks, they're crazy powerful sidekicks. How did you get your sidekick so strong? Other than coming here, what have you been doing on your own? And be willing to reach out into the pool and seek ideas and not always have to be the sole source for everything. Be okay to let the ego go and say, how do you do that?
This sounds like an issue of I not only ask my students to put their ego in their shoes for the day, I put mine in my shoes and I'm willing to ask questions and receive feedback. In the Team Chip acronym, we call that being teachable.
Teachable.
Right?
Yes, sir.
We're constantly looking for ways to learn, looking for ways to grow. So in the Team Chip organization, you've had the opportunity to travel with us and be in other martial arts schools and be a part of other events through some of the mastermind groups and the stuff that we do. So what is it that you think is a unique strength of the Team Chip organization? Do you have any thoughts on that versus things you've seen out there?
I think that the culture that we're talking about, being teachable, is a thing that we are very intentional with our students, not the old school way of this style is the best style and everything else, is subservient to it. It doesn't fit and it doesn't work. Being able to understand Taekwondo is my foundation and my base, but there are other things out there that I can incorporate and make it better. Later on we will talk about like hybrid things, but being able to have your foundation and see how other things fit into it can help kind of refresh and do things there. I think that's one of our number one strengths. We are very teachable. We've never gone into a place and say, well, that won't work, or we don't do that. We're open-minded.
In the right time and place, that might work
that might work great.
And I'm okay with that.
Absolutely.
This might not, during this drill, this might not be the right time and place.
Absolutely.
But I tell people, man, I've told people this for so long. They come into the martial arts school and they're like, I learned this wherever I trained previously. And I'm like, awesome. Keep that in your war closet.
Don't forget that ever again.
Don't ever forget that.
Don't lose it.
You can bring it out and practice it whenever you want to. The drill we're doing right now would fit in this type of scenario. What you're talking about doesn't, but I'm not saying it's not right.
Right.
And I've always tried really, really hard to never say, oh, you're doing that wrong. Because in the right time, in the right place, that may be very right.
Absolutely.
And so we've got to always keep that in mind. So, we're talking about finding unique strengths. Some of the things that we do, I think that we can do to help us to find our strengths is using our metrics. So what I mean by that is like drop rates, like let's think drops at belt levels. Right. So sometimes you look at your student base and you see that students are dropping out, and you at the end of the month, you're out of 100, you're dropping 4. You have a 4% drop rate. If you're dropping 8%, that's a lot, out of 100, right? So we want to keep that. We like to keep it at about 4% or below, but we can also look across the belts and look at drops by belts. And that's been pretty eye-opening. But that's a way that we can kind of look at our strengths in our curriculum, right? So we know that the curriculum makes a pretty hard shift, maybe moving into green belt. And lately we're losing a lot of green belts. Maybe we need to pay attention to where are we strong and weak.
Absolutely.
In
how
that
do we
area.
present that? How we change that up a little bit. Metrics are huge, not only belt levels, but even age levels. We have a kind of a feeder program in the Little Dragons where once they promote out of that at a younger age, they're at a higher belt level sometimes. And so at that level, we have to present the material in a way that's still engaging to that age group, but it's still that curriculum they're learning, their bodies are used to the more advanced technique. They're ready for the more advanced techniques, but we still have to present that in a way that's engaging to them. So seeing that metric of, okay, at this age, at this belt level, we're seeing a drop, or okay, we're re-engaged there. That instructor, whoever's in charge of that class, is doing a great job. Let's leverage them a little bit more and ask them, hey, how are you doing that? What are you doing differently than the other instructors in that area? So paying attention to your metrics can really shift the way you adjust your fire, like big time.
Absolutely. And, we've had situations in the past where you have an instructor working with a particular age group. That group is flourishing. And you go, you know what, let's move this instructor into a different group for a while. And all of a sudden there's a big dip.
Oh, yeah.
Whoa. And you realize kind of that guy or that girl was kind of the Pied Piper for that age group. We need to get them back in there because they really connect well with them. They move well. That's another thing we've got to pay attention to in those unique strengths is not only the strength of the culture and the school overall, but each individual part of the team. And I think this is a good time to talk about, when you have a team, we should hire to our weaknesses. If we hire a whole bunch of people that are just like us, we're all good at some areas, but there's a whole lot of holes in the game, right?
For sure.
And so, I think that's something that people need to look out for. Watch the strengths of those instructors and where they fit when they're teaching, what age groups, what levels are they good at communicating with and connecting with and teaching. And that's a big deal. And you can pick up on that by moving them around into different areas when they're teaching
sure.
to see kind of what's happening.
I think that also goes a little bit back to the ego and back to knowing yourself and knowing your team. You have to get to know your people and understand what they're good at, what they
Right.
enjoy doing. They're probably going to do a better job if they're doing something they enjoy doing. If I like to teach little dragons, well, then let's give you the opportunity to do that.
Right.
You know, but if you're not particularly strong at it, but you like it, well, let's train you a little bit first before we allow you to go do that. If you really like doing this, then work on this to get that opportunity. So there's ways you can leverage that as well as building your team.
Absolutely. Well, other ways to look into strengths too, I think, is like, looking at your testing process and seeing at each belt level what percentage of that group is testing and moving forward. So there's a lot of different ways to look at that and find your strengths in your school and then pour into those strengths, right? And try to make improvements. So let's talk a little bit about kind of class concepts, kind of fusion classes. There's trends that come along, like, combining martial arts with other things. We have a little program that we've licensed with, and it's a parkour program that's called Ninja Trix.
Right.
And it mixes in a little bit of basic striking with parkour and stuff. So let's think about that. How can we use something like that to improve, stand out, and make us unique?
Absolutely. So the Ninja Trix is pretty fantastic. The kiddos get to run and jump and exert energy, but we also have to teach them, how to punch and strike. There's an amount of self-control that goes to that. So you're not losing the self-discipline and the responsibility portion of martial arts.
Right.
Whenever you take the martial arts as the main focus into that parkour program. Other things like, I know y'all have the TC Fit program, which is like a cardio type of kickboxing kind of thing, where you're taking the aspects of the martial arts that would fit into fitness, that do build those cardio things, but using the body mechanics and the ideas behind striking and moving to create that fitness atmosphere. So it's a very unique way to give them a little bit of both, but not full on Mr. Miyagi dojo standing, and also have some fun element infused into that.
Right. Well, one of the things that Glenn and I have talked about for many, many years, and I've watched a lot of people through the years in our industry lose their focus on their core and who they are.
Right.
And what I mean by that is, I remember back when kind of the cardio kickboxing craze hit, kind of middle 90s. And we integrated a cardio kickboxing program. And I'll never forget the first January, because we rolled it out in January, kind of strategically, new year, new you kind of thing.
That's smart.
And we pressed it out there. That January, we signed up. It was like 50, I think the number was 57 new students in a January in Abilene, Texas, small town, West Texas. And we were pumped. I had friends that ran schools that did that. And within a year or two, that's all their school was anymore, was a cardio kickboxing school. And then that cardio kickboxing trend died off, slowed down. The next, thing came along, and then they suffered. And I saw people, their schools failed. So one of the things that the point I'm getting to is our strength is traditional martial arts.
Right.
And we stick to that core.
100%.
Right?
Yes.
We believe in it. We live it. That's who we are. And it's super important that it is good to have these fusion programs or these ancillary programs like cardio kickboxing or Ninja Trix, kind of side programs that can feed. But I've always encouraged people, look at that as a way to feed your core.
Right.
And we loved it whenever, and it was primarily ladies, I would say, most of the time that did the cardio kickboxing program. We had a lot of guys too, but we loved it when they would go, you know what? I was watching that regular traditional class. I think I can do that
Absolutely.
too. And they would slide into their uniform. For us, we always try to keep those side ancillary programs as feeders.
100%. And with our students, we do have some that do the Ninja Trix parkour stuff and the traditional side of things. When we have those conversations, it's always like, hey, I'm glad you want to try parkour out, but don't forget your core. Don't forget this is the thing that makes you strong, that got you there. And then that's for fun kind of thing. And we have that conversation with the parents, and they're all about it too. That, yeah, absolutely. This is a fun thing, but we're sticking to the belt the belt process and earning our black belt still. So that's good.
Absolutely. So again, I'm going to kind of re-say that those ancillary programs are amazing, and they can be very helpful, and they can get you a new demographic sometimes of people involved in what you're doing and give them a taste of martial arts. But I really think that you're best served, if you're a martial arts school, to stay focused on martial arts and let those be a program that can kind of feed that core And, we're talking about being unique. You can run those programs because it gives you some extra uniqueness to offer that program, but really don't let it get sidetracked. Like I said, I've seen a lot of friends lose their business over time because they just lost who they are.
Right. You can't lose your identity. Your
Absolutely.
identity is all you have in the industry is your reputation, who you are, what you stand by. You start flopping around everywhere, and then, it's scriptural. You don't want to just be blown with every wind, which way you go.
Absolutely. So let's talk about another way that we can make things unique. Themed based classes or themed based cycles of material, things like that. So speak into that just a little bit. Give me an example of like a themed based class or cycle.
So, we have rotating curriculum, and so one of our items is like self-defense stripe. So a self-defense piece, which is not traditionally like a fixed pattern form or basics, like program striking, but somebody grabs you, what do you do? Right. It's a little grittier, a little uglier, it doesn't look as pretty. But
self-defense,
man, but it's really functional.
Can be real ugly.
Really
it can be
ugly,
really ugly.
Really ugly. But it's super functional, and there's a lot of fun ways to teach that kind of thing because it's not such a set pattern thing. I can be very surprising with the students. I come up behind a kid and say, oh, now what are you going to do? And you can surprise them, and that just creates some fun atmosphere in the class. So focusing what you're teaching around the idea of self-defense only is a great theme to go by. We do have our specific theme days. We'll do like a costume buddy day, or we'll have, when they bring their friend, well, now they get that sense of I'm teaching my friend and I get to show them what I'm doing. So those kinds of themes are really fun too. We always theme like women's self-defenses. We have those strategically placed. So this November, holiday shopping, being in the parking lots, being in the crowded places. So now the focus and the intentional
curriculum that's delivered in that time
in
of
that
year
season is appropriate.
In that season.
100%. So, and then also not just the curriculum we're teaching, but the mat chats that we're having and the conversations we're having right now. We're talking about bullying. It's, October's National Bully Month. So they're going to be hearing this everywhere. So we kind of fit in with what they're hearing as well.
But also the timing of that theming of the bullying mat chats is we're also back to school right now. Back to school. Everybody's kind of coming out of summer. They're reestablishing the pecking order out on the playgrounds and in the classrooms and hallways. And it's a good time to remember those things. Another thing that comes to my mind is like, we did a series, we sometimes theme our summers. Oh, yeah. The summer samurai series. Samurai, one who serves. I understand there's some other thoughts around that, serving a lord or whatever. It was something, stuff with feudal Japan. But the point is someone who serves. So we did the summer samurai series.
That was awesome.
All summer long, the summer uniforms that we did were kind of samurai based. Right. And the mat chats were samurai based, on kind of the Budo code and the samurai code of being a servant and being a hard worker and all of these things. And there was a time where we actually reached out to Jocko Willink and we got approval from his group to do a Way of the Warrior Kid. That was awesome one. Yeah, it was fantastic. And we do these. A lot of times we'll theme our summer to make the summer kind of fun, a little different and kind of interesting. And we actually brought the Way of the Warrior Kid book in, and we read to the kids.
We read a chapter a day almost.
And they absolutely loved it. And now we have the instructor themed team chip books, children's books, and we bring those in for mat chats. Right. And you actually illustrated those books, did all the artwork.
It was fantastic. The Instructor's Guide to Black Belt Heart was one, refreshing for me as an artist to get to do something that I love with something else that I love, which is really great. But then to see the instructors and the students using that in the mat chats and being able to reinforce the things that we believe in a new way it was great. It was super, invigorating for me as an instructor. I had that fire to go out and teach better and run better classes and be excited because I was fed by that, and that just trickles down too. So that was awesome.
Absolutely. It's amazing. And by the way, if you're a martial arts school owner out there and you're like, mat chats, what are mat chats? Mat chats are that 5-minute segment of class where you set the kids down and you go, hey guys, we've got to have good character. This is important stuff, right? Oh, yeah. And if you're having trouble doing that, reach out to us, because the Instructor's Guide to self-defense, spit the title out for me,
Instructor's Guide to Black Belt Heart.
Black Belt Heart. Instructor's Guide to Black Belt Heart. I was looking at notes here, and the Instructor's Guide to Black Belt Heart. That there's built-in mat chats in those books.
Yes.
Right.
The mat chat is, I think, to me, is super important, and another unique way you can kind of change your classroom. How do you tell a parent, I'm teaching your kid how to punch, fight, and kick, but also tell them how to be a good citizen and a model citizen?
Right.
How do you pair be nice, back fists? How do we pair that? That match hat is that opportunity to draw that parallel, to connect those dots and explain to the students there. And it's an awesome way to speak to a need that your parent community might have without
Absolutely.
singling out that one kid
Absolutely.
or doing like that. Your parents come to you and say, hey, Johnny's having trouble at school because he's not focusing.
Right.
Well, my match chat's going to be about focus today.
That's
you know
right.
what I mean?
That's
and
right.
so it's a great opportunity to feed into your parent community, feed into the students what they need, and reinforce that martial arts aren't just lugheads punching and kicking the tar at each other. We have a personal code, we have responsibility, we have focus, and it's just a good spot.
Well, I think this is a good time to talk about why is it so important that we have that code? Why do we have a moral code attached to martial arts?
100%. So, it's cliche, but with great power comes great responsibility. I tell the kiddos, yeah, it's great in Spider-Man, but it's really true. The day one, my goal is, if I meet you for the first day, you're going to leave here being able to defend yourself at least a little bit more than you did yesterday. And as you progress, you only get more and more dangerous. The red belt means danger, warning the opponent to stay away, but exercising the practitioner to use caution. You're dangerous.
Right.
Even in a response that's instantaneous, if you've been training long and long and long, somebody swings at you. If you don't have self-control and it's just your friend playing with you and you break their nose,
hurt them,
you don't mean to do that.
Right.
That's bad. That's not good. And we don't want to teach people how to be very dangerous and use their bodies and be weapons, so to speak, without anything guiding them. And
without a code to guide.
They become bully. They become the bad guy. They become the predator instead of the protector. And we want to always stay on the protector side of those.
Absolutely.
lines.
I just think as martial artists, we have a moral imperative upon us whenever I teach someone how to break your arm, how to break your nose, how to hit you in a way that's going to incapacitate you. They've got to know how, why, when, where.
When it's appropriate.
When it's appropriate. Right. There has to be a code attached to that. So we kind of segued a little bit, but we're talking about themes. Theme your summers. I want to switch us back to themes real quick before we get out of this kind of little segment here. But, you could do a weapon theme for a period of time if if you integrate weapons in your school. So you could have a period of time where for a six week cycle you're doing a lot of focus on nunchucks or a lot of focus on a scream McCallie, something like that, right? So there are different ways. You could also think of themes as we theme the adult classes to adults.
Absolutely.
Right? It's a different atmosphere and I wouldn't say culture generally, but different atmosphere than the kid class, than the Little Dragon class, than etc. So look into those themes and use those as unique strengths. When adults come, they know they're going to be treated as adults in an adult class. When kids come, they're going to be treated appropriately as young men and women. I hate calling little kids kids. Right. Let's call them young men and women, right? And then our little dragons, they're little guys, and they know they're going to get the appropriate what they need in those classes.
For sure.
So some other things that you can do to kind of make yourself unique and stand out are, like workshops, specialty programs, things like that. So you had already alluded to it, but we do a quarterly women's self-defense clinic.
Absolutely.
And then we theme those kind of to the season, the time.
Right.
And I'm pumped about that because one of our instructors has really grabbed the bull by the horns, gotten so excited about that program, which we've had in place for years. The last one we had 57 or 58 ladies participate.
That's right.
And it was phenomenal. The energy in the room is amazing. The ladies that come and do it leave and so empowered. That's another way that we try to separate ourselves and make ourselves unique. So what other things do you see that we do that,
we do fantastic summer camps. Themed summer camps are always really great. We already have the program for Ninja Trix and parkour, but we do a week of that as a summer camp.
Right.
So not only will they do some parkour stuff, but they'll also do camp themes. The Little Dragons camp is specifically for those little guys, and they will do activities that are age appropriate for those people, for those little guys there. And it's really great. Our curriculum in the summertime, you alluded to that, is something that keeps them focused and engaged through their summertime. That's timely, that's appropriate for them to hear in that summertime. So I think our summer camps being themed is a huge one. Not only age appropriately themed, Little Dragons stay all together, so you don't mix too many ages and create a little bit of a chaos there, but also theming in the events that we're doing. Parkour, jiu-jitsu themed summer camps that might bring a student that you didn't think wants to try jiu-jitsu. Right. It's a regular traditional student. Well, just for a week, they can try jiu-jitsu class out. Or students who or aren't students yet, but there's a jiu-jitsu camp. I've been thinking about that. There's
and a lot of
good
our
way to try it.
Right. A lot of our summer camps, the kids will bring a friend.
For sure.
Bring a friend to do the camp with them. And then that kid gets a taste of either jiu-jitsu or traditional martial arts or whatever that is.
Right.
And it gives them a good taste. So we're talking about these kind of workshop specialty programs.
Right.
Internally for retention, sometimes we'll do like a sparring clinic.
Right.
Or a board breaking clinic or a forms clinic. And you kind of go, wow,
one of my favorites was the stretching clinic we did.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
flexibility.
Everybody loves Glen Ann. She comes in and teaches a flexibility clinic. Everybody's like, woo! I'm like, man, what about me? What about me?
I went to, Lexi taught it.
Oh, did very cool. No, the flexibility clinics are amazing. And they're a great retention tool because it gets people kind of refired, re-excited.
Sure.
It's like karate candy in a way, for lack of better words,
Absolutely.
to show them some new things and get them excited internally. But also in those workshops, we can invite and bring in outside people.
Yes.
Sometimes we open a clinic and say, hey, you all bring a friend, someone that maybe wants to taste this,
Right.
and we can do a clinic. So there's just several things you can do with kind of special programs and workshops. And I'm going to throw a thought at you too. If you're a martial arts school owner, sometimes budgets are tight. Money is tight. We've talked about this in a budgeting podcast that we did. And, sometimes you kind of glance in at the business and go, oh man, they must be booming. The parking lot's busy. And, they're charging a good fee for what they do. But gosh, there's a lot of cost that goes on. So anyway, the point I'm getting to, maybe you want to add some, you need some new mats or you need some new equipment for the gym. Well, how about you run a weekend clinic, you charge a few dollars extra, you really pour into it and deliver an amazing experience for your students. And that's a way you can bring in a little extra revenue, right? For things. So not only theming and standing out, but it can help you in other ways when you run specialty programs and workshops correctly, right? So holiday themes, we get into the Christmas season and different things. Talk to me a little bit about the holiday themes and some of the things that we do around those things to make the classes unique for these guys.
For sure. So one of my favorite times is around the Christmas holidays, doing the reindeer games.
Right.
The instructors wearing antlers on their heads.
Right. Now, wait a minute. Can I pause you?
Yes,
Don't
sir.
lose your thought.
No, sir.
But there is some traditional martial artists listening to this right now, throwing up in their mouth, going,
Right.
I can't believe you're doing that stuff.
Right.
But I'm betting they have 25 students and they're awesome students. I know they are. Right. But they're wondering how they can grow.
Right.
And these events, these themes, and these rare days that we do are amazing for building culture, relationships.
365 days, it's only 2.
right. But go ahead. You were on the track. Antlers and reindeer games.
Antlers, and so the games that they play, we call them reindeer games, and we'll give them some flexibility bands to put around them, and they have to fight through that pool. Well, you're just holding the reindeer back, and you're holding the reindeer on the reins.
Right.
But they're getting a hard workout.
Yes.
We've given them packages. Here's your package. You got to deliver it to the North Pole, and they got to climb over stuff and fight the ninja now. So they do a sparring session where they, take the baby around because they got your package kind of thing, and they get a chance to really work out.
Right.
Still apply all their martial arts focus to it, but theme it in a fun way. And they don't get to, play the whole time. They're still working the whole time. And every year they're like, oh, I can't wait for reindeer games.
Can't wait for reindeer games.
And the parents love that. Photo opportunities. We get so many photos and Facebook, social media mentions, and the parents being more engaged on those days than anything. That they like to see their kids having fun.
Right.
They want their kid to be confident. They want them to smile, or they want them to work hard. They want them to do martial arts, but they want a happy kid. Mm-hmm. And being able to add that little bit of whimsy into their life with, their mean, mad instructor with the antlers on their head, that changes their day for a while, and it's really good. Right.
That's amazing. All right. Well, one of the fun things that happens is we have, and I really want to start pushing this much bigger. It's been heavy on my heart. We'll talk about it just a little bit real quick, but we don't want to get sidetracked talking about making things unique, making your school unique, your classes unique. Several years ago, we started a Moms on the Mat in May for Mother's Day and a Dads on the Mat in June for dads, right. in June, Father's Day, right?
For sure.
And gosh, 15, 16, somewhere in there. We've been doing it for a really long time. We started tracking the numbers about 2017 or 18, I think. And our first Moms on the Mat, we had 25 or 30 moms, come in through the day and jump on the mat with their kids, do an appropriate class where they're learning how to work together. The moms are learning hey, this stuff is kind of hard work. They're learning really cool stuff. And same for the dads. Anyway, the point is this last year we had 100 and I believe it was 118 moms come through and 106 dads in one day that joined their kids on the mat doing something that's a common ground. Martial arts is a common ground where they can work together and do stuff. And it's such a great experience. And so I just wanted to kind of throw that in there. I would encourage you guys, we're going to start putting some more information out about maybe making a national push for moms on the mats in May and dads on the mats in June.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we do it amongst the Team Chip locations, and we'll have a couple hundred parents through the day on the mat across the Team Chip organization. What if we could get 10,000 moms on the mat doing something they would have never done with their kids and connecting as a family? And I think that's so huge. So anyway, it's just monster important that you keep your programs unique, you keep them exciting, you keep the energy high for the purpose of recruitment and retention. Really, these things are kind of heavy on the retention because you're trying to bounce the classes and keep it so the students want to come back.
Absolutely.
Right? Because we all know the microwave society. I want it now, instant gratification. I want to drive through that McDonald's drive-through and get my coffee and my Big Mac or whatever it is, and I want it now. I don't want it next week, and I want it to taste the way I want it to taste, right? And so it's more important than ever that we really work creativity, disguising repetition, 100%. And all of our tools, right?
Yes, sir.
So it's huge. And we also today talked a little bit about, how we identify those strengths. Look at your metrics. Look at your personalities of your instructors and your leaders. Look at where they fit and help them to get on the bus and get in the right seat so that they serve the team well. And remember that as a team, Manny does many, many things better than me. And because of that, we make a successful team. There are things I do better than him. There are things that then Glenann does better than both of us. And then things that Zeke and then, we can JT and all these guys do better than us. And when we learn to accept that, put our ego to the side and bond as a team and kind of lean on each other in those areas of, that's your strength. Help me out here, man.
Right.
That is so, so important in understanding your team's unique strengths and how you can pour that out and create an experience that's second to none. Absolutely. We talked about some creative, class concepts, kind of fusion stuff. Ninja Trix and cardio kickboxing and kind of ancillary programs you can bring in to make your school unique, to make your experience unique. And I just encourage you in those. Again, I don't want to beat it up, but let those be feeders. Stay to your core, know who you are. Know who you are. It's so, so important. We talked a little bit about theme-basing things, theme-basing cycles. If you're a martial arts school owner, you know what that means. You do a 6-week, sometimes a 12-week cycle of material, then your students can test and progress. Theme those cycles sometimes, or theme a summer, or theme a day, theme a camp, something to make it exciting and different. And again, it's just about that. I keep using the word disguising repetition, right?
That's true. We
talked a little bit about, special programs and workshops, a weekend where you do a breaking clinic or, board breaking, whatever. I was working with one of our affiliates a couple of days ago and he's about to do a brick breaking clinic on a Saturday afternoon.
For him, yeah.
I'm pumped about that as well. Like, it's so fun, man. And so do some specialty programs, women's self-defense clinics, stuff like that, where you can bring outside people in to get a taste of what your school is about and why you are unique. We keep beating that word up, seasonal holiday stuff. So guys, tons of nuggets. Manny is a ball of wisdom, and I appreciate you being here with me today.
Thank you for having me. I love doing this.
Yeah, I do too. It's so much fun sharing some nuggets. Our intent with this podcast is to serve. Right. A big part of who we are is servants. We just want to serve. So we hope you get some nuggets out of it. I do want to encourage you, if you're having trouble with mat chatting, if you're having trouble with your curriculum, if you're having trouble with retention or recruitment or any of these things, reach out to us. We have an affiliate program, teamchipaffiliate.com. Reach out to us through the affiliate website and let us know you need some help. And let's talk about that because we want to see martial arts everywhere, in every life, in a positive way with a good foundation. And we'd love to help you out. So don't be out there alone and lost. If you're an orphan martial artist, reach out to us. Orphan, that means you're someone who trained for years, your instructor left, moved, passed away, whatever that is, and you're kind of alone. I was that guy too. And I have a heart for that. So anyway, reach out to us. We'd love to help you out. Manny, you got any last words of wisdom around being unique? It's the mustache, man.
It is the mustache. That's one of my unique things. No, I would say that don't lose your identity. In trying to be unique, don't lose your core and don't lose who you are. If you stick to that, you know, the little things you do to spice things up will be that, a little bit of spice. You don't want to overpower and change who you are.
Right. I didn't beat this up too much, but our core and our identity is built around Jesus.
Oh, absolutely.
Being in the center of everything that we do to the best of our ability and not losing focus on him.
Right.
And then from there, build that life and stay you, and be solid, right?
That's right.
Love it. All right, guys. Hope you had a good time here. I hope you got some nuggets out of this. Reach out to us any way we can help you. Give us some feedback, like it, share it, and all those things. See you next time. Thank you for tuning into the Team Chip Podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget, subscribe, share, and or leave a review because we need you. We appreciate you so much. And without you, we can't make this happen. Remember, consistency is the key to success. So go out there and never be outworked.